Welcome, welcome, wise chat. It is Monday, October 7th. Producer Henry here saying thank you for joining us for Wisecrack Live. Apologies on that minor delay. We had to do some tech resetting. Been using OBS for other things as well, but glad to see you here. Hey, welcome, Jackson. Happy to see you. Everybody like that stream as we get cozy. Mike will be with us in just a moment. We gotta look at those Mondays I hear y'all are developing there. Hey, Sandhill Farmer and Victor and Scarlet and Infinity and People Over Profits. Quality name, that one. Glad to see people are excited for the Harris Hole. We got a bit of a twist on it today. If you've been checking out his comments section or his community section, you may have noticed an interesting post recently. Michael will get to it when he comes here. We can ask Michael when he shows up how the Italian law is treating him. I wonder the same thing too, Atlas. Welcome, welcome, House and Dead Card. Without a 3 giving us the 3 hellos. It's a real Beetlejuice situation. We'll get Michael to show up eventually. What up, Oreo and Jarek? Preemptively, before that one person shows up in the chat and asks, did anyone see Mr. Beat's recent stream? He was talking with someone that often gets asked about here.
Well, it's Monday, October 7th, 2024. It's Wisecrack's case of the Mondays. I'm definitely feeling Monday-ish today. I'm at that stage of my life. Maybe it's age, maybe it's work stress, maybe it's having a child, where I basically feel like I'm going through cycles of constantly feeling like I'm getting sick, getting kind of sick, feeling a little bit better, feel like I'm getting sick again. I feel like it's just going to happen until
Oh no.
I die. But I hope that no one else is feeling that deep sense of the Mondays that I'm dealing with. Hopefully everyone is feeling, like this Monday is a Saturday. Quick question for Henry and for the chat. What's worse? And before you guys answer this instinctively, think about it for a second. What's worse, Monday or Sunday?
Ooh, I have an answer for that. I mean, between those two, Monday for me, but I don't know. I think Tuesday's an underrated, not hated enough day. It is the worst day of the week if I have to pick anything beyond
You
the
think
other two.
Tuesday's the worst?
Yeah, because like your week's just started. There's so much of it left. Like, Monday is kind of a day of re-energizing and reorganizing, getting things set. But Tuesday is just like, oh, there's still so much to do, and I don't even get to have the excuse of it's Monday, everything's slow starting.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, let's see. Yeah, I mean, like, Something about Sunday though, I guess it's like the anticipatory dread. Where Monday, you're already just in it. You know? Oh, Bailey does bar trivia on Sunday. That's really fun. But then Bailey, here's the problem, right? Is there ever a sense in which you're doing bar trivia on Sundays and it's fun, and then there's that moment where you're just like, and now I gotta close my tab, go home, get cleaned up, get in bed. By the time I really get in bed, what I'm maybe gonna sleep 7.5 hours. Then I gotta get up, get right after, that sort of thing. Mellow Jello's articulating this. Sunday night after 8 p.m. is just depressing knowing you have work in the morning. Yeah,
But new
I don't
episodes
know.
of The Penguin drop.
I have not watched it. Have you watched it, Henry?
I've been having more fun with it than I was expecting, honestly.
Okay,
I was a bit
I want to
cynical
watch
about
it.
it, but then I started watching. I was like, "No, yeah, I'm enjoying this."
Yeah, I mean, I think that sounds. I think I might enjoy it. I like some of the people in it a lot. They're people that I want to watch, even though I don't like. Wow, John Pollan or John Poland coming for me hard. Someone said you beer out the Sunday scaries, but that's the problem, right? Because then you can't beer them out too hard, because then the worst thing in the world is to start the week like hungover. You know, to me that just seems like the worst thing you could do. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a world where you want to go through it in sort of a hungover way. First an apology to everyone in Italy, to the entire Italian subcontinent, to Italy and all its territories around the world, even to Italy's colonial provinces. We put out a video on Friday, written with our great friend John Duncan, who we like a lot, friend of the show. Video's done quite well, by the way. So thanks for watching. It was a video that I was worried that people might get too mad at. But I mean, some people got mad, but you watched it, so that's what matters. And in it, I referred to Italian philosopher Antonio Gramsci like Gromsky. And the thing is, guys, I know that that's wrong. And it's a thing that I said out loud when we were filming. And then I realized it. And then it was just like, do I want to go through the effort of retaking every time I said his name? You know? And I did not. And a lot of people pointed that out. And, if it makes you feel better, I do have one of my like grandparents or great grandparents, or someone is Italian in my family line. So, it is a part of who I am. So I feel like I'm allowed to play with the language a little bit. But another thing I'll tell you is there's a thing about me. I'm horrible at pronouncing things. I'm especially, and there's an irony to this, I'm so bad at pronouncing so many philosophers' names. The irony, of course, being that I have a PhD in philosophy. A related story I'll tell you is there's a French philosopher named Paul Ricoeur, and I misspelled his name in every instance that it was used in my PhD dissertation. It was pointed out to me by a committee of experts when I defended my PhD, the consummation of 5 or 6 years of work. It's something that I struggle with, but I just do want to say like genuine apologies to everyone in Italy, to every single Italian. So the Johnny Harry stuff we're going to talk about. I said Johnny Harry. I think he's hairy. I think he has a hairy chest. So Johnny Harris, guys, if you are an old school fan of the show, I mean, I guess if you're an old school fan of Wisecrack Live, because this is the case of the Mondays. This is technically more of a Wisecrack Live thing. You know that one of our OG things we did was diving deep into the Harris hole. The Harris hole is what we called it. Not when we went up Johnny Harris's butt, but when we watched Johnny Harris videos and talked about him. A thing we used to say is we hate to love him, love to hate him. And the old school line on, Johnny Harris is sort of that he makes really, really high quality YouTube videos. Some of the best quality videos, that are, hey, if you miss Jared, you should go watch Jared's 3-hour talk with Mr. Beat, or watch his channel that he makes. And I'm curious, I wonder what the line is. What is the line in which, I'll say that later. David has a serious case in the Mondays. David, please get better. And please like the stream if you haven't already. But we used to talk about Johnny Harris a lot. And Johnny Harris recently has gotten himself into a little bit of a slight kerfuffle. So if anyone could find this, we missed it. But Johnny Harris put out a video that was, it was a YouTube short. And it was looking at people who are building, Israelis who are building settlements in southern Lebanon. Now, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a historian. I'm I'm not many things. I'm just a guy. Um, or as some people on the internet referred to me as, well, I can't even say it. If you follow me on Twitter, you know that some fun stuff happened to me this weekend on Twitter. I made some of the people from a certain community mad, and they came at me hard. I'll talk about that later. I don't want to lead with that. Um, but here's what I do know. I know if you are not from a country and a group of people from a neighboring nation, you go to another nation and you illegally establish territory, you are occupying that land. Um, you are doing something akin to a very explicitly political colonial act when you do that. You know, if I live in the state of California, California borders the country of Mexico. If me and some friends went to the southern border and started encroaching into parts of Mexico and starting settlements for California inside of Mexico, you know, would anyone say we were doing anything other than sort of illegally settling Mexican land? I don't know. But Johnny Harris made a video uh, about this, and then he deleted it and posted a correction. So, do we have the correction on screen?
I can pull that up now.
Great. So, this is the top post on Johnny's YouTube community page. If someone can't, we were trying to find the video, and it seems like no one saved it. So, real OGs know and miss Culture Binge. There we go. Wisecrack, better than Packers, better than Bears, better than Johnny Harris. Oh boy. Um, yeah. Eddie, very relatable right there in the teaching thing. I've mispronounced so many things. Thank you, Matthew Rodert. I think I've called you Roter before. I think I just assumed you were that. Yes, we have seen the Cynical Historians video on him. Okay, so here we go. And again, thank you for being here. Like the stream if you've not already. It helps us a lot when you do. Harris said, "Hey everyone. Earlier today, I published a short form video about a group of Israelis who are calling for people to move in and build settlements in southern Lebanon in an effort to expand Israel's territory. I likened it unto the settler movement that led to the illegal settling of Israelis in the West Bank after 1967. Now, let's just stop there. Obviously, you can read ahead if you want. Some of you might have already seen this. He said that so people from Israel are building illegal settlements in southern Lebanon. That is the thing that's happening. He equated that with people illegally building settlements in Palestine. Again, at a very basic level, I struggle to see a differentiate why that's different. Henry, do you see a marked difference in the two things being described?
No.
Great. If anyone in the chat does, let us know. He then says, I'm realizing now that I was wrong to equate the two. This is a different situation. While some Israelis do want to expand Israel's territory by attempting to settle southern Lebanon, this is a fringe group that, under the current status quo, has no feasible chance of expanding Israel's occupation or changing Israel's borders. So, if anything, okay, I'm just curious who is clearly
I
someone.
guess because it's Lebanon and not the West Bank. Is that a noticeable difference? Does that change things?
But then it's like, is he apologizing to the current group trying to occupy Lebanon? I'm just the curious thing here, and I guess we have no way of knowing this, but it's fun to speculate, guys, especially on a Monday, is who did he make mad? Who made him post this? You know, what happened here? So he said, this may change as this conflict escalates, but for now the comparison was an inaccurate characterization. I hope you trust that when these errors come to my attention, I'll do my best to assess the error and immediately issue a correction and let you know about it. Thanks for the patience, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay. I mean, first of all, a lot of the comments seem to not be on his side. So first of all, I'm just curious, like who, you wonder who pressured him. Does he have donors or investors that got on him for this?
Yeah, there's been previous
Colleagues?
videos where he's admitted to like he's lost sponsors over stuff and he still goes forward with it. So it's kind of curious to me as well.
Yeah, is there like a sponsor who saw that short and got mad? Um, but when he says it's a different situation,
Just past
I'll, I'll
666.
oh, awesome, friends. 666. There we go. We did it. We did it for the Dark Lord on a Monday. That's what matters. Someone said he got a call from state. Um, so I mean, I wonder if, and here's a question there. Um, sorry, just check it in on the chat. Everything seems great. You all seem wonderful. Um, so when he says, sorry, let me go back to the post right there. So the curious thing is like when he says this is different than the settling of the West Bank, is the point to say the settling of the West Bank was good or moral because it wasn't fringe and because it was more organized, so that was good? Or is it to say that the settling of the West Bank was bad, but this thing in Lebanon is just like different in kind because it's a fringe group or whatever? I'm just so curious what the motive was to disentangle the two things. Like who got mad at him such that there was a necessity to make this, because it seems to indicate that it wasn't his audience, because I'm looking through at some of the comments right now, at least the top comments. And it seems, yeah, because when you scroll through the comments,
Also, welcome, Chris Maverick.
hey, Dr. Mav, um, in scrolling down, I've yet to see a comment that says that he was right. One said, "Bro did actual journalism for once," and immediately his corpo daddies told him to take it back. The man who can share American crime facts furiously had to correct himself when he speaks about the state terror group. Impressive. Someone got a message from Mossad. Um, guys, hear me out. This time is different, I swear. Nothing will come out of it, I promise you. I still can't find anyone who's saying, "Thanks, Johnny. You're right." Like I've been scrolling the entire time that I've been saying this,
Do you see the one
and
by Rachel Banning 2909?
oh, let me find it. I bet I can. Yeah. Rachel Bannon says, "I'm so grateful to have come to this comment section and see so many seeing the same things I was thinking. Johnny, you were not wrong. As others have said, the fringe groups aren't fringe when they're literally in the highest offices in government. They're not fringe when the IDF is backing them. Furthermore, they are only as fringe as the original settlers in the West Bank were. And look where we are today. I'm sorry you were compelled to retract your statements. You were very right. The Sparra is very strong, and Sparrists are quite convincing and insistent, but propaganda is all you'll ever get from them." And then looking at, yeah. I mean, so that's what's interesting. It's like it doesn't seem like it's his audience, right? That's called for this. And I think it's interesting when we look at recent videos, right? We have a video about a Russian invasion, a video about a secret Trump investigation, a bunch of stuff on the military, something on Elon Musk, around Iraq War, the FBI killing MLK, a video on the deep state, the U.S. selling weapons. I mean, it seems like, even as a video from 8 months ago, how Benjamin Netanyahu relies on Hamas. It seems like in many ways, he's very comfortable talking about international conflict, conspiracy, things of that nature. But in this one instance, he felt the need to move backwards. He even has a short from, when is this from? Let's see if I can find a date on it. A recent one about like Israel heading to war. Yeah. And it's hard because I think, Johnny Harris is this sort of, I think he's such an interesting figure in the YouTube world because sometimes he is like adjacent to people doing good work. He's often asking interesting questions. He makes high quality stuff. I think there's times at which you could look at, so Ryan Klein says, so are we not to take him at his word? But I don't know what his word is because his word is what was wrong. I think that's the question there. Um, and I don't think it doesn't seem to indicate. Sorry. I mean, I don't. Yeah, I think he was wrong in so much as. Let me just take a sip of beverage. Sorry, friends. Wrong in so much as like there's no indication. So someone said, but what is the problem? I think the problem is that an incredibly popular YouTube video creator who makes videos on political and social reality and who in many ways claims to operate with an independent journalistic ethos and who in a lot of recent videos seems to indicate that he's at least, if not progressive, on the side of stating the underlying truths of geopolitical situations, makes a short, not even a full video, calling a bunch of people that are occupying land that's not theirs as akin to those who occupied the West Bank, and has to take the video down and issue an apology. It just seems weird. It just seems weird. I don't know what else to tell you guys, So, where is this? So, we at least wanted to discuss that. We at least wanted to let you know about that. We wanted to share that with you because mostly we want to know if anyone knows anything that we don't know.
Yeah,
If anyone has a better sense of this.
Jackson does bring up a good point in the chat that you do have to separate his aesthetic from his statements as far as like what the concluding statements of his videos are versus the presentational, aesthetic
Okay,
of it.
this is great. This is great. And I'm really glad Jackson makes that point. I think that's something we talked about in here before. Yeah, I mean, I do think because Johnny and his beanies, because he kind of looks like a cool guy, and because his videos are well made, and because he, speaks like a latte sipping millennial, there's a sense in which that aesthetic is definitely what's up, Rob. In which that aesthetic is something we associate with a type of like vague online millennial progressivism. But I think Jackson makes the great point that often the conclusions he arrives at are, for lack of a better term, I don't know, on the safe side, or even in a way, it's like he starts from a position of dominant ideology, goes kind of outward and analyzing different possibilities, usually to arrive back within the realm of dominant ideology. Kitty in another city calls it ex-Mormon aesthetic. Max says Johnny's not on the side of truth. He wants to tell a narrative. I mean, so this gives us an opportunity for an interesting digression, I think. In a sense, and of course, CIA Harris exists for a reason. Our friend Tom Nicholas made a video a couple of years ago about Johnny Harris being involved with some ideological think tanks. It's a good video. You can check it out. I mean, but to me, this is like the failure of the thing that sometimes people say that they want. And what people say they want is like non-ideological videos. They say, and we got a lot of comments on Friday's video to this respect of like, Wisecrack changed. What happened? This channel changed. And sometimes people will say stuff like, you should just be doing objective philosophy. We talk about this a lot. I rant about this a lot. You guys are probably annoyed to hear me talk about this, but it's like, I don't think what you guys really want, I don't think what anyone really wants is pseudo objectivity, because that's what you get in someone like a Harris, whose sort of performative objectivity is really just the sign of complicity in the dominant ideological framework. Because when someone presents things to you in a way that seems devoid of ideology, the reason it seems devoid of ideology is because it's just participating in the dominant ideology, right? Fish aren't like, hey, I'm in water. You know what I'm saying? So when you just stay in the water, you might think you're doing something objective, but you're already enmeshed. You're already surrounded by dominant ideology. To step out of that sometimes means pointing at something solid, pointing at something outside that which we all assume and saying, well, we're operating from this perspective. And at least you know. You know what I mean? I feel like at least you know when someone is clear to you. Someone says the video is still up on Instagram. Let's see. Is there a way I can access this? Let's see. Instagram. Johnny Harris. Let's see. What's up, you saucy bitch? I don't think it is. Is it under Reels? There's Bouvet Island. There's I don't think it is. Whoever said it's still up on Instagram. It's not under his post or his Reels. Send us a link if you find it. I don't think I see it. But yes, we do work for the NSA. Yeah, a guy that knows in the chats, or a guy that knows a little bit about it, said creators are not allowed to have their own opinions anymore. The reason people watch certain creators is that they're open to new ideas. People want to live in echo chambers. I was thinking about that this weekend as well. I do kind of think that what people seem to want, and this kind of relates to some other stuff, and if you read between the lines, you'll know what I'm talking about. It seems like what people desire sometimes, we do work for TSA, not the NSA, desire from content in this medium is either the false objectivity of someone like a Harris, or they just want someone to like yell at them and tell them what to think, or they want someone to tap into their resentment. So I think that like Harris kind of taps into the good. Someone said, "What will you do when your looks fade?" You know what? I don't think that. How do I phrase this? That which has never existed cannot fade. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I think that like Harris taps into, and this relates to Jackson's comment. Jackson says Harris won an Emmy for a video in the New York Times titled "Blue States, You're the Problem." That's like textbook social liberal fiscal conservative. Yeah. So Johnny Harris appeals to the good liberal pod save America type person who thinks that they are inherently good and that the world the way it is basically good. It just needs to be modified a bit, but the system is fine, but the actors in the system are the problem. And people who think like if the actors in the system just played their parts better, everything would be okay. Harris appeals to those people, the people that, yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. I think there's another type of person who is mad because they say, I'm a good actor in the system and the other people are bad actors. And why don't people agree with me? Why don't people acknowledge that I'm right? And these people are sometimes drawn to other types of creators who I think operate more in terms of exploiting a type of resentment, of capitalizing on a type of resentment and alienation and telling people, no, you are right. You actually are right. And your enemies are idiots. And it seems like those are two sides, maybe not sides of a similar coin, but two different versions of a type of critique or a type of pseudo critique or content that offers a pseudo critique that still doesn't critically analyze the system in question, that just takes different perspectives on the actors within those systems. Did that make some sense, Henry?
Yeah, to remove the political angle, but still talking about resentment and critique, I've been following the Silent Hill 2 remake that Bloober team has been working on. It just released, I believe. It got a lot of good critical reviews, and people were surprised that it's actually good. And there is a lot of reason to be skeptical about the development of Silent Hill 2 as a remake. It's a remake of a game that fundamentally synthesizes a lot of good art and does a lot of things that aren't kind of like blockbuster, explosive gameplay kind of like impulse ideas. And the team that was making it has a track record of making horror games with not the best takes on trauma, psychological horror, just some weird takes. They're worth criticizing. But now that the game's come out and it's been good, there's like this new debate developing because the fans who don't like the people that were criticizing the thing are telling them to apologize for hating on the thing. But I don't think that's how criticism works. I think constructive art criticism may have in fact been why Bloober team actually pulled something together and made something good here. Which, if those, voices of criticism never existed and weren't listened to, would the game be as good, or would the team be as considerate of getting it right, so to say? So I think it's one of those things where it's like, well, the structure and the apparatus are there to criticize and grow and develop. What's this whole football resentment, team sports thing we're doing here?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about some of this. I'm gonna bounce around a little bit today, guys. Hope that's okay. Um, I was thinking about that, and let me find the original thing. Here's a few things that came up yesterday. So yesterday there was a tweet from a small independent streamer named Hassan something, and this person said, "I looked at the top Spotify podcast overall, the top Apple News podcast, and we're absolutely cooked. Independent media is riddled with the absolute dumbest right-wing garbage. Everything is turning into Twitter." And I retweeted that with a comment about left-wing commentators and content creators figuring out how to do a better job. But it is interesting how much like how people like Harris, who use a certain type of aesthetics to repackage dominant ideology in a cooler way with beanies and stuff like that. People like that are really successful. People on the right are really successful. And then I feel like liberals who act like they're on the right and are just very like angry and are kind of, I mean, I posted this on Twitter yesterday because I was thinking of it. The clip from I mean, here, you know what? I'm gonna send Henry, I'm gonna send you a link to Twitter. Just to something I clipped from a Connor O'Malley video. We watched this on stream the other day. But I feel like this embodies how a lot of people are acting on the internet. If we want to pull it up and play it, we don't have to. It's your choice, Henry. Wait, where's that? I didn't. Is that on the doc?
All
All right,
right,
cool,
I
cool,
have the
cool.
Connor O'Malley clip up. I'm gonna play it.
I'm the human version of Israel, surrounded by enemies and constantly under attack. I'm the human version of Israel, surrounded by enemies and constantly under attack.
Did it play? Okay. But I feel like that attitude embodied by the Connor O'Malley Truth Hunters thing is how a lot of people act in digital media spaces, in both the right and then the liberals who act like the right. But I think it kind of leaves me with this question of like, why, what would it mean for more progressive critiques? And what's up, Guitar Bard? What would it mean? Wait, hold on. Ryan Steve, you're absolutely correct. Let's see. Naperville and Cubs, Ryan Steve. That's amazing. Sorry, I just looked at the chat and Ryan Steve is just here like reading my entire being. You're looking into my soul, Ryan Steve. I've never felt so read and so appreciated. Drift King 305. Hopefully things are okay in Florida. You know, I got family out there as well. Yeah, I'll make this point and we'll go. And here, if you're just tuning in, we got some people that are showing up now. This is Wisecrack's Case of the Mondays. It's our Monday morning stream. I'm Michael Burns here with producer Henry. Just a reminder that one of the reasons, and I want to talk about some of the stuff I see coming up in chat right now. I see Fire Trainers comment. I want to talk about that. One of the reasons we're always cooking so hard here is because we're fueled by the beans, baby. Our partner is Yes Please Coffee. I'm going to show you. I'm going to do an unboxing video live for you guys. This is the newest bag I've gotten from Yes Please. I'm holding it towards me so that no one sees my address here, because then you can come to my house and, I don't know, snuggle or something, which might be okay. You know, maybe I wake up, you're next to me, you're looking good, you smell nice. I don't even care. Okay, so here's what we got. Ooh, so I got the newest bag of their mix. This is the stupendous Blenditude. We got coffee from Guatemala and Ethiopia. I got their newest zine right here, right there. I shouldn't let you do this because you should have to be a Yes Please head to access this, but you get music playlist as well. There's Spotify. Pause it and scan. Apple Music. Pause it and scan if you want to listen to the tunes that they have for you. I'll read this later. YouTube is mentioned in the new zine. But Yes Please Coffee. They're our coffee partners that make some of the best coffee on the planet. I say that, I believe it. I'll say it with my whole chest. If you want to get some Yes Please Coffee, use code Wisecrack at checkout or use the link in the description, get 20% off. Also, reminder, we've had some entries already. We have a coffee contest. We're picking the winner on Wednesday, so you have a couple more days to submit. Let us know how you like your coffee. Be creative. You could do a drawing, a short story, a single sentence, a song, a video, a meme, a collage. Email us at wisecracklive666@gmail.com. Let us know. They're already so good. The ones we've gotten so far, I'm kind of like, I got sad because I'm a soft, cucky lib, and I hate the idea of anyone having to lose. So I'm already so sad that you don't all get to win this first round. But we'll post some of the options. I think they only ship to the UK, but Mark, they might ship to the UK. So, but Yes Please Coffee, we appreciate them. We appreciate you. Bobby, if you whisper Kierkegaard in my ear first thing in the morning, come over and hang. So, 1 second. But yeah, I guess some larger questions. Jumping off the Harris thing, jumping off from the sometimes ideological narrowness of people on this website and various streaming websites. There's the question of why is right-wing content and why is content that affirms the existence of the system as it is, why are they so popular? And something I'm curious about, and I really would like to hear this in the chat, like, do we think there's a reason that, let's say, more progressive or left-leaning content creators, aren't as successful? I got some comments on this yesterday on Twitter, and some people are saying they think that there's too much infighting, that there can be some sort of like alienating anger, and I think as well, when I say like left leaning, I don't think this is what we try to do, right? I don't think we're aiming at presenting anyone with a specifically, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not like we make stuff and it's like, hey, here's the Marxist take on whatever. But I think the aim is to be curious and open to criticizing the underlying logic of a given system or something like that.
Yeah,
And
I think
yeah, go ahead,
there's,
Henry.
well, I think there's the whole, like, the left leaning ideology has to do the work of, like, pointing out the systemic side of things, whereas, like, a lot of the right wing and reactionary stuff is providing, like, individual answers and individuated actions. And, like, on top of,
Mhm.
like, operating on the capitalism aspect of being able to sell you something, it offers up individuated action items that are a bit easier to act on or can make you feel good in ways that, like, the systematic questioning stuff might just be too big sometimes for people.
Yeah. Alexi says right wing messaging is simpler. Blame the other. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that is true, and I think we're not to spoil too much. We're working on a new video, and we have a new writer and researcher who's working with us, who is a PhD in clinical psychology and is doing some really really cool work. And I was on a call with her on Friday, I think, and she was talking about how often, and I forget the exact psychoanalytic concept she was working with. It's something from Melanie Klein. How often the other is the projection of the part of ourself that we can't balance. I'll phrase it this way. We often like to think of ourselves, especially in early, psychic conscious development, as this one thing, right? I just am Michael. I just believe this thing. I just act this way. But then we're not just one thing, right? We might be a good person who sometimes gets angry, a nice person who sometimes gets resentful. Sometimes, I guess it's like those contradictions we feel within ourselves. Soren Kierkegaard writes about this, and I've talked about a lot before. And there's a theory, I guess, via Kleinian psychoanalysis that what we sometimes do is that otherness that is internal to us, rather than be able to comprehend both those things, those contradictions as a part of a whole. Shout out to Hegel. We project the otherness in ourselves onto another, almost like we try to when we take a shit and we see the shit in the toilet, it's sort of like, oh, that's not me. That's something else. I do not contain that shit. But you contain that shit. It was in you before you took the shit. And, I think that's a way to think about some of this. Another analogy, kind of riffing off something Henry said a second ago, that I do wonder, wait, you were right before. I think, did I not tell you which suburb? I told you. I'm not saying it again. You guessed the suburb, bud. Also, I've never claimed to be from the city, so I'm not lying. But I guess, to use an analogy, I sometimes think about this theologically, right? It's like, what's more attractive, and we'll think about Christian theology here. What's more compelling? Is it more compelling to hear, you are good and the world is against you? The world hates your faith, but you are the good one because of what you believe. And you don't need to listen to anything else out there because you're good and they're the enemy and God wants you to win, right? That's option one. Option two might be like, hey, we live in a broken world and, we're even complicit in that system. So it's our job to work as we can to restore a sense of justice and hope to a world that's really messed up. That's option two. See, I never claim I'm from the city though. I'm also married to someone from the city, so I would get killed if I made that claim. 22 away from Dome. Why don't we see it? But sorry. Hey, but so that's kind of how I think of it in terms of politics, right? Is it because we see in Christianity in America what's growing? Well, the side of evangelicalism and even some Ryan won't let me wear a Bears hat. We have to, Ryan, are we really drawing a line where unless you're from a specific city boundaries, you can't like a sports team? That seems come on. That seems a little silly. But, we know that like evangelicalism and right-wing associated Christianities are growing, are influencing politics. The ones that are focused more on that, like, we are the victims, we are persecuted, we must fight back. Rockford's insane, okay? I'll say this. I'm sorry, guys, that we're going to the specific Chicago stuff. If you're like on a metro line, and definitely if you're on the L, I get it. Like if you're in Oak Park or Evanston, you don't live in the city of Chicago, but like you literally live near an L stop. I get it. But if you're in Rockford, what are you doing? That's not the Chicago metro area. That's a different city in Illinois. Come on, let's not be silly here. Let me take a sip of water. Let's go, Bales. But if we look at the side of, let's say, Christianity again, it seems like it's not going as well. It's definitely, I guess the more social justice oriented side, the side that views the call to care for the poor, to care for the sick, to care for the neighbor as a moral imperative, that sort of thing. Yeah. Does that make sense? The analogy I'm using there?
Yeah.
I know I'm a little.
I'm still thinking about the sports, not being able to wear Bears memorabilia if you're not from. Yeah.
Yeah. But all I had to say, guys, is like, I think that it maybe makes some sense of why people are not as attracted to cultural and political analysis, which acknowledges that things are bad and messed up and unjust, and that those systems are broken, and that we live within those systems, that we have some complicity within them, and that it's sort of like up to us to potentially do something, even if it is hard to do that thing, right?
It speaks to a sort of emotional narrative that I think a lot of leftism or left-leaning politics misunderstands, or like it's more like a liberalism thing. I think I've met leftists that kind of get the spiritual aspect of it as like, there's liberation theology and such that really does play and understand this. But there's sort of a facts and feelings kind of liberal atheism. Oh, it's Dome time.
Well, guys, now there's now you can't be mad at me for wearing a Bears hat. Now you're getting that Dome.
Forget what I was saying. I am awash with Dome.
For all my Bears heads out there, you're getting that straight. Brian Urlacher before he got hair surgery. This is for my non-Chicago heads. There's a famous Chicago Bears player, Brian Urlacher, who was bald. I love that he was bald. And then he got hair transplant surgery. And then there was billboards all over the Chicago Metroland area of Urlacher showing off his hair transplant. And I never felt like someone was such a sellout. If you want to keep the dome, yeah, no place like Dome, please like the stream if you would like to continue to gaze upon it, because we got it and then the numbers went down, and that makes sense. I'm gonna give us. There should be a rule that once we hit 1,000, that like we keep Dome for a certain window, but then if it stays, yeah, Tim Pool would never. Tim Pool's a coward. He would never take his hat off. He's a fake Chicago person.
Check out my kickflip.
Yeah. Oh my God. Just the worst. And I'll say this too. I'm going to say something real right now. If anyone's watching this who's a member of a community of a popular streamer on this website that hates me, I genuinely think it's cool if you are doing political canvassing and you're doing it earnestly and being nice about it. And I would never truly criticize someone that did that. I mean that very genuinely. I think maybe it was perceived as throwing some strays this weekend. And I just want to say that very clearly. I respect anyone who gets off their ass and knocks on doors and does stuff. I think it's cool. So if you've done that, I think that's a cool thing. But I will say, when someone pokes fun at your community and says, are they just going to call people slurs? And then I just get called slurs for a whole weekend. It's kind of ridiculous. What were we just saying?
We
someone
were talking
is asking
about the left, or why the right's more popular in terms of reaction content and online content.
Oh, yeah. And I'm thinking about this too, guys. So we're finishing a video that we're filming on Wednesday that's about Curtis Yarvin and J.D. Vance and Peter Thiel and Catholic integralism and these like new Theo bros that are political theology guys. And they're all so angry, and it's all so grounded in the sense of resentment and the sense that like we are being punished. We're as smart Christian whites, we're being punished, and yada yada yada. So I'm definitely I have this stuff on the brain. Excited to make that video, and I'll be excited to see what you guys think about it. Yeah, the monarchist Sandhill Farmer are some of the people that we were talking about. But yeah, for anyone who's just tuning in as well, the reason we had Johnny Harris up because we started today by talking about Johnny Harris's recent removal of a short he had on his channel and a correction he posted, and the seemingly ideological underside of that being that someone is pulling the strings or making some calls for Johnny Harris, and someone, I'll say it, with a sort of Zionist bent, seems to have an influence on the content he's making. That led us to a discussion, just so everyone feels fully caught up here, that led us to a discussion of Johnny Harris's content seeming, and this is thanks to our friend Jackson. Please subscribe to Skip Intro if you don't. Something that Jackson pulled up about how Johnny's content sort of has the aesthetics of something that's like progressive, millennial, and cool, but it really just reinforces dominant ideology. We then talked about the distinction between content that reinforces dominant ideology and content that sort of like lets people feel like they're the victim and that the world is somehow out to get them, and how in the middle between that, there's maybe a type of analysis or content that's a bit more like, hey guys, maybe some stuff we take for granted in the world might not be true, and we could sort of explore that. And I don't want to pull any like self-martyrdom thing here, but it always makes me think back to Socrates. Shout out Socrates. Because what happens to Socrates in at least in Plato's record of it, right? Socrates, one of the earliest philosophers, walks around the street, hangs out with younger folks, encourages younger folks to critically analyze systems of power, political systems of power, religious systems of power in Athenian society. What happens to Socrates? Well, power is questioned, people get mad, they sentence him to death. Now, I am not saying that anyone who's willing to curiously, criticize dominant systems of power is going to end up getting killed like Socrates, but I am going to say there's a long history in the entire tradition of philosophy of this happening. of people wanting to protect their adjacency to some sort of power. And I do think there's a sort of like weird liberal thing that happens sometimes where people almost like, how do I phrase this? I feel like a weird liberal move is to occupy a system of ideological power, but still frame yourself as somehow critical of it or being attacked for that. But that's a whole other thing. Oh yeah, well let's do the Karen Bass tweet. And I will just say, if you're just tuning in as well and you wondered why am I seeing that raw dome, it's because we went over 1,000 concurrent, which means we show raw dome. Okay, so we're gonna look at so this is from Karen Bass. She is the mayor of Los Angeles, California, where I currently live. For anyone who is watching who's curious about suburb city distinctions in sports, I do live within the city of Los Angeles, not a suburb of Los Angeles, but I'm not a fan of any of the sports teams in the city. So there you go. Bobby and Two Crow says, Michael, how can I be good and still be able to pay a hospital bill? I really don't know. It sucks. And I will say, Bobby and Two Crows, you shouldn't have to pay that. You deserve just Bobby and your two crows. Just because you're a person who exists with your two crows, you should just get to go to the hospital. I think you should just get to, and I think you should get taken care of. And I think you shouldn't have a bill. I will say, sort of a life hack here, that normally if you have a hospital bill, just keep calling and asking about it, asking if you could pay less. Very often it'll work out. I know it sounds like not a real thing, but it definitely is. Skirmaster84 said, I think leftist content tends to question its own assumptions, and looking inwards is tough for people. I think looking inwards is very tough for people, and no one wants to think that they're bad or that they're wrong. And I think that's really dangerous. Also, this is what I've talked before. I don't like debate culture because it's about winning, and philosophy is never about winning. It's just not. Okay, so Karen Bass, mayor of the city of Los Angeles, city where I live, has a tweet. It says, moving forward. And then there's a picture of Wilshire Boulevard. It's a street I drive down on the way to Wisecrack's offices. And it says 15 people used to live on this sidewalk. And it's an empty sidewalk. Obviously, I have thoughts. Henry, I want you to start. What did this make you think?
Where did those people go? Did they get housing vouchers or some sort of affordable housing?
Yeah. Maybe. Hold 1 second.
Why were we in such a situation as to where things were organized to where people were living on the street in the first place? And what was done? Why is this moving forward? Do we just not want to see people because they may remind us uncomfortably of other things?
Yeah, so let's think about it this way. Maybe there's a world where the liberal mind says, this is amazing. I live in Los Angeles, and my liberal mayor helped clean up the streets. Because you know what? I want to live in a city, but I want to live in a city where I don't have to see people, living outside. It doesn't make me feel safe and blah, 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 blah. So I see this tweet and I think, hey, that's a good thing. And maybe if I'm like pretty far right, I think to myself like, well, I don't like this radical woke mayor, but hey, even a broken clock, right? But then if you're a Henry, like Henry just stated, you might take a position of, well, okay, but where are they now? And why were people living on the sidewalk in the first place? And what did we do at a structural level to assure that this will not be something that just keeps happening? The first response I see to this tweet, I know that Twitter sometimes shows different responses to different things because of its magical algorithm. But the first response I see is someone says, where do they live now? Did things get better for them or just you? The second response I see to this, someone said, did you provide them housing? Then I see an ad for a crypto wallet, which uses a Matrix meme to sell it, which makes sense. I see another response that says, where are these unhoused people? Where did they go? Does Karen Bass think they disappeared into thin air? I see another comment that says, why not show those people in their new housing? I see another comment that says, and where are they now? I'll tell you this, guys. Whoever gets paid to do the social media for Karen Bass probably makes more money than you do. I'm just being honest. I'm sure a few of you are rich. And if you are rich, please check out our Patreon. We'd really appreciate that if you did. We had our first Patreon dip in a while. Part of that, I'm assuming, and I apologize for this. I've been late on my. We do a reading group, or at least I started doing a reading group on Patreon with Byung-Chul Han's Psychopolitics. Did the first one about a month ago, and then because I went out of town and I got sick, and then we're launching the second channel, a bunch of stuff happened. I got behind, but I did the prep work yesterday for the second episode, so we'll get that up soon. But if you want to check out our Patreon, we do some cool stuff there. There's no hat because we are in the raw dome zone. That's when we get above 1,000 concurrent. We are in the RDZ. So we're glad that you're here with us in the RDZ. But yeah, someone who makes more money than you thought it would be smart to tweet this picture. Also, it still doesn't look like nice. Even if we're just trying to say like if you're going to take this picture, I'm going to be like fully lib-brained right now. If you're going to use this, like clean the trash off the sidewalk. Maybe paint over the graffiti on the thing there. Because it's not like someone sees that and they're like, and they look at the barbed wire fence on the left and they're like, God damn it, I want to move to Los Angeles. Because it still looks kind of like a dystopian nightmare. Right there. But yeah, just not good. Doesn't feel good. I guess I'm glad that you pulled this up, Henry. But I'm not glad that now I'm thinking about this and it doesn't feel good. I don't love what it represents. Do you have any other thoughts on this before I just go down a rabbit hole?
No, I'm just hoping that for a lot of people who don't own houses, they don't get too anxious or worried about this, or that this isn't, too much of an anxiety driver.
Yeah. But of course too, when you see stuff like this, it's that sort of what's that word I'm looking for? I think the idea is. Oh, go ahead. What's up?
Just Logan in the chat says they were at the street cleanup where they trashed someone's tent but left a dead rat on the sidewalk.
Someone said if you're not born in California, you shouldn't be able to own here. Plain and simple. I don't know about that. I don't know if you shouldn't be able to own a home in a state if you weren't born there. It seems like a weird homeland type logic, but I don't know. Maybe there's a point there that I'm missing. I'm just.
Do you really own
one dumb guy.
the thing, or is it just all paperwork?
It's paperwork. I mean, it's all paperwork right there. Wow. Okay. Let's see. I mean, we had some other stuff we're gonna talk about. We got to wrap up kind of soon. Let's see. Oh man, there's so much stuff. I guess we can talk about some of this. I'm sad we're not going to use the other thumbnail.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to get to our jumping for joy boy.
Let me see. Hold on. Let me look at my calendar. When's the next meeting we have on this end over on the Wisecrack team stuff? When do I have a call? Hold on. We could maybe. Should we do it real quick? Then I'm worried. Do we think we lose people if we switch thumbs? I'm just so curious about how well things are playing.
I think it's still fun enough to hold attention. We also the video I believe is only like 8 minutes long as well. If we want to hop over to the watch together for it.
Okay. Drift King, I rent, and I'll tell you this: I make like fair money. I'm by no means wealthy. I mean, you see what I do for work, guys. I can't even fathom owning in Los Angeles. Like in the neighborhood that I currently live and rent in, to buy something that was like the same size as like my 2-bedroom apartment would be over $1 million. So yeah. So, things are crazy. Let me know when you switch it up. Or wait, are you doing it? Okay, cool. I think we can leave the same thing. Okay, guys, we'll watch this and then we're gonna wrap up. Let me get while you do that, I'm gonna head over to the watch together. Okay, cool. And then maybe Yeah. Okay, guys. So we're gonna quickly watch this because it's ridiculous and absurd. But yesterday, um, Elon Musk gave a really weird speech at a Trump rally. He jumped around like a fool. He looked like an absolute dork. And we're gonna look at it because, again, this is an influential person, and I've been thinking about him in so much as the video that we're finishing up is on kind of the Silicon Valley intelligentsia and some of these weird, I guess, like philosophy influencers in that space. A lot of them who would argue, and this is a real thing, and some of you have probably seen this, have argued that people like Elon Musk or Bill Gates should be monarchs of cities and states because they're so smart and good at business. I'm gonna just ahead of time put this at 1.25 so everyone know that if it's a little fast, your brain isn't speeding up. We just made the video.
His name is Elon Musk. He saved free speech. He created so many different great things. Where is he? Come on up here, Elon.
He saved free
created
speech.
the first major American car company in generations, and his rocket company is the only reason we can now send American astronauts into space. Come here.
Oh, look at this
Take
guy.
over, Elon. Yes, take over.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy.
Hi, everyone.
I don't think it's weird at all that the guy that runs this free speech platform is actively campaigning. I mean, this is why he's bad at being a rich guy. Here's what rich guys are supposed to do. If you're a smart rich guy, you donate to political super PACs in a subtle way or via a third-party channel so that from a business perspective, you are open to all types of interests and anyone can project upon you so you can make money. If you want to be a super rich business guy, you don't campaign for divisive candidates. Like if your goal is to be rich, that's not what you do, which is why Twitter is a failing platform and they keep advertising all these new ways to give them money to do stuff because they can't make money because they're so friggin' divisive that it's not like Disney is some liberal, commie production company. They just don't want their stuff associated with people using slurs.
I'm not just MAGA, I'm dark MAGA.
He's dark MAGA.
Well, first of all, I want to say what an honor it is to be here. And, the true test of someone's character is how they behave under fire.
Ooh.
And we had one president who couldn't climb a flight of stairs, and another who was fist pumping after getting shot. Fight.
Oh my
Blood
God.
coming down the face. Now,
Did he just send
America
blood coming down
is
the face?
the home of the brave. And there's no truer test than courage under fire. So
Not brave
who do you
enough to
want
take off
representing
that
America?
hat.
Yeah, he has
Yeah.
more than 1,000 people there.
Absolutely. And I think this election, I think it's the most important election of our lifetime.
And this is a dumb question, guys. Someone knows this. Is he an American citizen? Can he vote
I
in
don't.
this election?
I don't believe he is.
Okay.
This is no ordinary election. The other side wants to take away your freedom of speech.
We talked about this. I'm just going to let you guys know this. We talked about this on Wednesday in our stream that got into this very stupid Jordan Peterson Russell Brand thing. This whole free speech stuff is just bananas nonsense.
They want to take away your right to bear arms.
Elon's never held a gun in his life.
They want to. They want to take away your right to vote effectively.
How? Who wants to take away your right to vote, and how do they want to take away your right to vote?
I googled
what-
the citizenship question, and the AI overview is not available for this search.
I mean, I'll tell you the free speech that they want to protect. Like, someone like I got a bunch of responses on my Twitter. I reposted some of them because I'm a petty bitch. But last night or this morning, and like in one of them, someone called me like an F slur. You know the word, guys. And I just to see what would happen tried to report it on Twitter, and it just tells you like, nah, that's cool. So like the free speech they want, just to be clear, is this free speech for you to call people slurs. That's all they care about.
Also, he is a
You don't-
naturalized citizen. I am looking into
Okay.
that. So my bad.
States now that don't require voter ID. California, where I used to live, is just passed a law banning voter ID for voting.
I don't think that's what the law is, but go ahead.
I still can't believe that's real.
I'm gonna look it up.
So how are you supposed to have a good, proper election if there's no ID? It's just meaningless. And free speech is the bedrock of democracy. And if people don't know what's
All right, I'm just going to read you the summary real quick. California signed a bill into law on Thursday that bars local governments from enacting laws to require residents to show a valid form of identification in order to vote. In direct response to the ballot initiative approved by voters in the coastal city of Huntington Beach, residents there voted to adopt a ballot measure that requires all residents who want to cast a ballot to show a valid ID, but the measure runs afoul of the state law. So here's the thing, guys. It's not saying that you don't need to be like registered to vote. It's just that you don't have to have an ID when you show up to vote. Okay, so it's still, you have to be registered to vote. You have to be registered legally. You have to have proof of residency, all this sort of stuff. They were saying that because in one city, Huntington Beach, California, one of the most conservative places in California, they tried to have some law where you had to physically show up with your ID. I don't know about you guys. I have voted in a number of elections. I haven't had to show ID because you're on the voter register because you're registered.
what's going on, the truth, how can you make an informed vote? You must have free speech.
I love how he thinks his website is where we're going to find out the truth. It's just full of blue check conspiracy theories, people using hate speech and advertisements for dumb products.
In order to have democracy, that's why it's the First Amendment. And the Second Amendment is there to ensure that we have the First Amendment.
Jesus. I just like, this guy's not a shooter. Like, don't sit here and talk about, come on, man. Was there free speech in apartheid South Africa, Elon?
President Trump must win to preserve the Constitution. He must win to preserve democracy in America.
None of this means anything, guys. None of this means anything. This is where we're at. And I'll be fair, watch speeches from the other candidates. They're not saying a lot either. It just makes me so sad. We watched a little bit of this a few months ago, but we might have to just do like a full hyper-normalization rewatch together. Yeah.
Yes. This is a must-win situation. Must win. So I have one ask for everyone in the audience, everyone who watches this video, everyone on the live stream. There's one request. It's very important. Register to vote. Okay, and get everyone you know and everyone you don't know, drag them to register to vote. There's only 2 days left to register to vote in Georgia and Arizona. 48 hours. Like, text people now, now, and then make sure they actually do vote. If they don't,
oh yeah, I got told to leave Twitter today if I don't think Elon's cool and smart. Like, before Elon Musk owned Twitter, no one cared about Jack Dorsey. No, you know what I mean? No one was like, if you don't fuck with Jack Dorsey, get off this website. He's like, it's just like the dork who owned the website. Like, guys, who cares? Like, who cares about people? You know what I mean? Who cares about any of us?
this will be the last election. That's my prediction.
And also, I'm going to say something. This is unrelated, guys. Why put yourself out there to defend people that don't know who you are? Elon Musk doesn't know who you are. Certain internet celebrities, some of you are obsessed with, they don't know who you are. It's a one-sided parasocial relationship. You know, why ride for them? It's not like here, where when you're here, you're family, and you're always on time, and we know who you are, and we love you.
Nothing's more important. So get everyone you know. Everyone. So I'm speaking to people out there. Everyone in the crowd, I think, is already convinced. But for people out there that are watching the video, watching the live stream, you need to get everyone you know, at work, your friends, family, text groups, your social media, everything. Get them to register to vote right now. Only 2 days left for Georgia and Arizona. Only a couple weeks left in Pennsylvania. And if they're not registered to vote, it doesn't matter at that point. Register to vote. I'm being repetitive for a reason. Okay.
Because you have nothing else to say, probably.
Nothing is more important. And a lot of people think maybe their vote doesn't count. Well, it does. Okay, it does. It matters. And this election could be decided by 1,000 votes, 500 votes. A tiny margin.
What a compelling speech.
So
Everyone's got so
everyone you know
quiet.
to register to vote.
Oh my God, guys, look at the guy behind him who has the tape over his ear like he got shot. Do we all see this? The guy that's to the left of Musk, kind of in between
with the
Trump's shoulder
sunglasses
and the
on his
lady
head.
with the cowboy hat. Oh my God. This country's so weird, guys.
I believe that's swat.com. I believe that's the site. If you and double check that your registration is good. Don't take it for granted. I'm just being repetitive about this point.
I saw an Austrian in the chat, shouts to Austria, who said it's insane that you have to register to vote. That is weird as well. Why shouldn't I don't know. There's so much stuff we do in America that's weird. And I know that in America, guys, it's kind of like the larger point we made about living inside of ideology. We think that stuff is normal because it's the stuff that we grow up doing. But I just want to let you know, we're one of many places on the planet. We're one of many democracies. We're one of many nations. We do some weird stuff, and we do some weird stuff that even feels fundamentally anti-democratic.
Because it is a takeaway. More than anything that will matter is getting those registrations.
You've been talking about voting for 4 minutes.
Getting everyone to actually vote. That is what will decide this election, especially in Pennsylvania.
Say anything else. Is that it?
So thank you. And honestly, you want to just be a pest. Just be a pest to everyone people on the street everywhere. Vote, vote, vote. Fight, fight, fight. Vote, vote, vote. Thank you.
Is that it? I'm just watching.
What a great guy. And he'd rather be making rocket ships because he'd really rather do that.
Oh boy. Okay, so Canada requires registration ID. That's good to know. Someone said we should also vote on Saturday or Sunday. We should also vote on. We should also get like a day off, the day off work to vote. Yeah, guys. So Elon's now a dark MAGA Trump person. Thank you for saying like the stream, Alley Cattails. Hope you're having a good one. Chris is right that it's awkward. Stupid thing for me to say, but I'm just going to remind you again. You just wandered into the Raw Dome Harris hole. This dome is sponsored by Yes Please Coffee. Just a reminder again, we're giving away free coffee. These bags of coffee, I'm not trying to be silly. They're not like cheap. Like it's high-end coffee. This is luxury shit. And if you hit us up at wisecracklive666@gmail.com, that's wisecracklive666@gmail.com. Tell us how you like your coffee in a creative and fun way. We've had drawings, we've had some short videos, we've had some poetry, we've had some jokes even. You could write a joke. Our friends at Yes Please are going to pick a winner. We're going to do this every 2 weeks as well. So multiple chances to do this. And we're going to send out free coffee to you guys because we want you to be all jacked up. No bean is just bean. Someone said pop a bean in your mouth and let us know the mouthfeel of a single bean. I don't know why that sounds vaguely sexual, Donnie West. I don't know. It sounds vaguely sexual. Thank you. Everyone in the chat. Coffee is luxury shit. So, guys, we have less than a month till this election thing happens. I guess we can talk about politics a little bit less when this is all over. If you didn't check out Friday's video, check it out because it gets into some of this stuff. And I would say a takeaway from today, I like to wrap it all up thematically. Then we can find a balance, right? Where we create spaces in the digital realm for us to, and I want this to be a challenge for all of us, guys. For those of you who don't normally hang out with us, so glad that you're here. Someone said, why your channel is dying? I don't know. We have 1,000 concurrent viewers on this stream right now, and 100,000 people watched our video that came out Friday. I don't think it is. I also someone calling us a poisonous Democrat mindset. The funniest thing about Joey Broadway's comment, but shouts to Broadway, Joey. I mean, you put on great musicals, plays, things of that nature, You've never watched any of our videos if you think that. Does anyone who hangs out with us and watches this think that we are a vaguely Democrat? Donnie West, I am a coward. I'll put a bean in my mouth later. Now I feel, what the real issue is, Donnie West? I like to keep the bag sealed so that it stays fresh. And then if I open it, the beans won't be as fresh. So there you go. Yeah, we are a wing of the Democratic Party with the woke mind virus. It is interesting. As soon as we switched the thumb to the Elon Musk thing, we started to get people coming in and saying crazy stuff. But, I would just say, for all of us in this community, let's not be echo chambery. Let's ask questions. And most importantly, right? I think when sometimes people say, that I am, or the channel is, or that Radical Subcomandante Henry is, like Marxist or whatever. Yasa. Good to see you. Glad that you're here. Thank you for being nice. You're too nice, and it almost makes me want to blush, but thank you so much. I think something that, thanks, Griot. We talk about like Marxism, right? Marxism isn't what Jordan Peterson or James Lindsay or a lot of people on the internet tell us it is. It's just like a methodology, and it's a methodology of looking at underlying economic and material conditions that affect history. So, I think that whenever I say we do anything or think about things from a Marxist perspective, that's what we mean. 40-year-old geek, thank you so much, and thanks for letting us have Elon. Thanks for giving him to us. Okay, guys. Let us know if there's anything you want us to talk about on Wednesday. We got a lot of stuff. Stop it. Don't die. There's lots of stuff. Marx did not call it Marxism. Wouldn't it be weird if Marx called it Marxism? I bet Musk would call something Muskism. But hit us up at wisecracklive666@gmail.com if you have stuff you want us to get into, videos you want us to watch, articles you want us to read. We want to learn stuff together. Shout out to anyone who saw the new Joker movie. I have not seen it, but people seem to say that it's pretty terrible. If you've not liked the stream yet, please like the stream. And as always, please, you can leave comments after the fact. We do read comments on Wednesday. This is the copium of the masses. That rips. I can't believe anyone's ever said that before. I like that so much, Steven. So thank you for giving us the copium of the mass thing. But yeah, thanks for getting us to Raw Dome. I guess I'm going to put the hat back on very soon. So yeah, postmodern neo-Marxism. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to talk about Wednesday. We'll be back at 10 a.m. on Wednesday. But tomorrow, guys, we did start Showing the Meaning, our movie show. It's over on the other channel, Wisecrack 2. If you have not subscribed to Wisecrack 2, no one leave yet. Let me get you a link to this so that you can go follow it, because I would like it if you did that. We have a second channel up. We're starting with our movie podcast. We're going to start posting videos soon. We filmed the first video. Henry's editing it. We're going to keep working on it. Error. It won't let me post in the chat. That's so weird. Okay, great. So do check that out. They're streaming an episode on I Saw the TV Glow tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So if you saw I Saw the TV Glow, if you haven't seen it, if you want to see some people talk about it, go check that out. We got to go. Thanks for hanging out today. Thanks to producer Henry. Thank you so much to all of you. It's so much fun hanging out with you. And if you believe in prayer, pray that I'm just exhausted and not getting sick again, because my God. Have a great one, guys. We'll see you on Wednesday.